Здравствуйте. Для начала я бы хотела представиться на русском языке. Меня зовут Анастасия, и это моя коллега Дарина. Мы сегодня проводим мероприятие от лица языковой школы «Профи», в которой мы работаем. Мероприятие, как вы знаете, будет на английском языке. Сейчас мы расскажем вам небольшую лекцию о фильме. Фильм будет идти на английском языке с русскими субтитрами, для того, чтобы точно все поняли. После фильма мы будем его обсуждать. Также сейчас в процессе нашей лекции я раздам вам всем номерки. И после фильма мы рандомайзером выберем победителя, который получает сертификат в моей школе на 3 бесплатных занятия. Здравствуйте, это совладелец пришел. Номерки получат все, кроме совладельца и моей мамы, потому что моя мама учит французский. Вот. Что еще я хотела сказать? По правилам мероприятия мы должны досмотреть титры до самого конца со звуком. И после этого сразу мы проведем рандомайзером конкурс. Поэтому я прошу всех остаться до конца титров. Если вы не хотите обсуждать, можете потом уйти, но нежелательно. Вот. Now we have to start the lecture. And Darina, my colleague.
Okay, the director of the movie, Florian Zeller, says, "Cinema is a place for questions, not for answer." And at the beginning of our evening, I would like to ask you some questions. Do you believe that this is critically important to be with your old parents in their hard times? Do you admit that one day you will have to ask your beloved parent to move into a home for elderly people? If you had a choice to build your own happy life with your own children, with your spouse, to build your career on the one hand, and to be close to your relatives, as you know that it's very important for them at the moment, on the other side, what would you choose? These are rather complicated questions, and I'm not going to listen to your answers right now. I just want you to think about it as you watch the movie. I hope that all we know the key subject of the film. It's about an old man suffering dementia and about his relationships with his daughter and people around him. Well, the subject isn't innovative. We have plenty of films revealing the point, but there is something genius in this film. The genius is that it's not just the film, it's not just the movie. You don't just sit and watch and relax. It's an experience. Well, everything is shown from the point of view of the main character of Anthony. You are allowed to feel what he feels, to see what he sees, and to think what he thinks. The whole world had an opportunity to watch it last year, and we have this opportunity now. And I think that this is even more charming because we have Oscar in a week. And I'm sure that we all will all be supporting the whole team of the movie, including, of course, Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman and Florian Zeller. And this has been nominated for 6 Academy Awards: the Best Picture, the Best Actor, the Best Supporting Actress, the Best Film Editing, the Best Adapted Screenplay, and the Best Production Design. Well, who is the father of the father? Who is the who is the director? Where did he take his idea, and how did he manage to create such a first-class cast? Anastasia, would you tell us about this?
Of course, I have to tell you about this. Okay, I totally agree with every word my dearest friend said. I also wanted to mention that the film, there are some nice facts about the film. And by the way, you cannot call this film a movie because it's believed that a film is something more sophisticated and more serious. So, there are some facts. First, the film was included into a Sundance shortlist. The world saw the festival premiere more than a year ago, And this is how everything started. Actually, because of the virus, we can watch it now. But it's still really nice because an Oscar is in a week. Yes.
In a week.
So, who is Florian Zeller? Who is the director? First of all, he is a French novelist and playwright and director. And there are two important things I have to say about him. That was his directorial debut. And the movie, the film, I'm sorry, is based on his play. He wrote the play. He's actually a theatre director, and he wrote the play in 2012, 9 years ago. And then he decided to make a screen version of it. The play itself was considered as the most acclaimed new play of the last decade. This is a quotation, that's why I'm reading. The play has been staged in more than 45 countries and first shown in the West End Theatre in London. In April 2021, by the way, it was announced that Florian Zeller is making a follow-up of the father, and it's called The Son, and this is also his play, and the film will star Hugh Jackman and Laura Dern. The father is really deep and meaningful, with Stella more than willing to dive into Anthony's psyche. And by the way, the director wanted Hopkins so much that he deliberately renamed the main character because in the play his name was Andre, and Zeller renamed Andrew into Anthony, and you will also learn a bit later that they have the same dates of birth. I mean the character and the actor. Whether as Lear or Lecter, Hopkins has never been an especially physical actor, and you can see that the magic happens over the neck. But here he pushes his capacity for small, telling gestures and stillness. For Anthony, senility does not creep, it runs.
Okay, some critics say that this is a rather simple film. And the Florian Zeller's answer is, yeah, okay, I understand. I wanted it to be simple, but never easy. Well, where is the border between simple and easy? And what does make the film easy or simple? Here we don't have an abundance of characters. The story is intimate, the subject is familiar and transparent. Again, the place is more or less the same. It's a flat, it's closed, and the characters are almost never in the street. Yes, it's simple, but not easy. The interesting thing here is that the audience is a part of the narrative, I'm sorry. We are in the active position in this story, and at the beginning, you think that you understand everything, but this is really just a simple film. You just enjoy it. Sometime later, you find yourself like in a maze. You think that you have missed something, that you understand just a part of the story. And then, sometime later, you think that you do not understand anything, that you just have lost. But in the end of the movie, even though the journey was complicated, sometimes chaotic, everyone can finally say what it was about. The thing is that going through the movie, you're beginning to feel the same as the main character does. And it makes us doubt all the time. We are always doubting. Sometimes it feels like a very realistic family drama, then it turned to be a horror thriller or like a psychological thriller. And before we start watching, I want you to keep in mind some moments. The first is the interior. Pay attention, does it change? If yes, how and why? The second is music. Anthony listens to the music, and it's not just any music, it's aria. The first we hear in the very beginning, and when Anne goes in the street, and it's from Purcell's King Arthur, and it introduces the key line of the story. It's about some evil power which has come to a person. And there are several aria in the movie, but pay attention to the fact that they are always interrupted by something. By the way, the last aria, which is, this is George Bizet, the Pearl Fishers. And this aria is the contribution of Anthony Hopkins, because he just asked Florian Zeller to introduce it into the movie because Anthony Hopkins likes it a lot. There are a lot of different areas, and they by the way, aria is a very specific kind of music. It's very theatrical. We hear aria in opera, and it's always a monologue of one person who is always thinking, who is reflecting all the time, etc. And finally, the genre. Officially, it's a drama, but as you know, cinema is very subjective, and you can find something valuable for you, and for some of you, it may seem like you will watch the comedy or thriller or psychological thriller or something else. Well, let's see.
And now we are going to discuss the film, and I wanted to again agree with my friend and to say that it's really simple, but it's not easy. And we would really love you to say something. You might speak either in Russian or English, but we will react in English only. Мы сейчас обсудим фильм. У нас есть время до, давайте так, 21:45. Мы должны в это время все дружно, коллективно встать и уйти отсюда. Нет, обсуждать можно очень долго. Все хорошо, смотрите. Если вам хочется что-то сказать, вы это можете делать и на русском, и на английском. Кто как может, кто во что гораздо.
But it's better in English.
Yes. That's why we're here.
You are, but not
Okay.
Okay, what was your impression, guys?
Yes.
The main question, were they fooling him?
Well,
Давай микрофон.
Да, давайте микрофон.
Да,
а то не
микрофон
слышно.
вам. Вы нас слышите, главное?
Да, да.
Если вам не слышно нас, вы говорите.
Ну, лучше бы вы тоже в микрофон говорили, чтобы да.
Да, хорошо.
Okay, so I think that it's the main question. Just like, were they fooling him? Or what happened?
Oh, he was ill. He had dementia. And there were two simultaneous situations. He had two daughters, and one of them died. As far as I could understand in the accident. And his daughters were Anne and Lucy, and they used to be married. But then Anne got divorced, and she moved to Paris to live with a man, and he's just ill.
the girls were a bit late. We were talking about it, and I said that the whole story is shown from the point of view of Anthony. We saw the same as he saw, and
Feel the same as he feels. what happened is shown from the point of view of Anthony. All this chaos, it's just his feelings, is what he saw.
So we cannot claim what we've said. We're just supposing.
So it's not the origin version, yeah? Just like where we
No,
can
no,
get
it's-
this
it's-
information. But let's imagine that they were kind of like actors, just like the similar situation, like maybe typical family in Moscow trying to own, an apartment. Can it be
Russian
so?
mentality.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's Russian.
Black
And
reality.
you are very optimistic.
But actually, it can be true.
Okay, maybe it's a comedy. Well,
Well, yes, it's either the comedy or the drama because
Yeah,
there
we
there are
don't
some
know the
jokes.
truth.
Yes, it's very funny actually.
someone else maybe want to share?
You can speak either Russian or English. That's up to you. But please say something.
I should like.
Давайте.
In English.
Прекрасно. Да, okay.
For me, it's very deep sorrow story. By the film, I am tired, I am angry, and I got upset with the story. Because old age is not joy. It's fucking shit time. And I can speak about it because I am 52. I feel early first symptoms of old age.
Oh my god.
They say the beauty saves the world. It's not true. Only sex, drug, and rock and roll save the world. Will save the world. And show must go on. Thank you for attention. That's all.
Anastasia, what was your impression?
I really liked it, but I didn't understand anything until to the end. But this is our second time. Yes.
Well, as for me, I was just sitting and thinking about the life, about some inevitable things that will happen anyway. And
They might. Yes.
and I think that Anthony Hopkins is brilliant here because you think that he's just your grandfather, these emotions, these gestures, his words, his behavior. He's very goodbye. He's very natural, and you just have no chance not to feel empathy and not to feel sorry for him.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, there is
Someone who wants to say as well.
As for me, no one can guarantee that you will not be in his place in older age, and it's really awful to suffer from this illness because it's a real chaos. It's a mix between real and imagined world, between past, present, and future. But as for me, as I understand this film, maybe it's about humanity. I have a grandma who suffers from this illness, but not in a such level that it seems here. And I feel very sorry. I feel very upset because sometimes I feel angry about her behavior, and otherwise I should show her more patient, maybe, and I don't know how to express all this experience. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
На русском.
I never watched it before. That's my first time, and you can call me boring, but I don't like it because all the film I think about it. It looks very similar to another film directed by Haneke. It's called Love, and it is about the same problem. And this film is much better than that. That's all.
I've never watched it, but I will. It's really interesting.
I recommend it very much.
Yes, I know you do. Thank you.
Okay, and I also would love to say something, because for me the question in this film was like, what was the right behavior for her? Like, when you're looking at it, you think that it's awful that because of her father she doesn't have a normal life. But at the same time, when she leaves him in the nursing home, you think like, oh my god, it's so awful, I feel sorry for him. And I think that's a problem, just is very common. So as was said before, in Russia, for example, we have a lot of elderly, and nobody knows what to do with them. Because nursery homes, I think, in Russia are much worse than that one in the film. And no nurses will be just a nanny for all of those elderly. And for me the question was, what was right behavior? And also I think that this guy, at least he tried to be on his own, and in Russia there is a tendency among a lot of my acquaintances that their grandparents, they start behaving like they can't do anything on their own in a very early age. And so the question is, what was the right behavior for him? That was all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that was my first question. Do you suppose that one day you'll have to ask your parents to move into a home for elderly people? And there is no the right answer for it, because anybody should choose.
So that was super depressing.
Yeah.
Difficult choice.
Answering on the question which we heard, I think that the sense of this film is that we can see what our parents can feel if we left them. We were small, and they didn't left us in the orphan house, and it's our turn to take attention to their problems and to hug them. It was very difficult moment as for me. It was very difficult to see then a nurse hug this man, hug Anthony. It must be Anne sitting close to him. And I think that the sense of this film is to show what our parents can feel if we left them. So maybe someone will change his attention to this problem.
Yes, but you should understand that you can sacrifice
Your life looking after these people, after your parents, or after just your grandmother, grandfather, etc. And she has a man, and she has her plans. Well, we don't know how much time it can take for her to sit with him.
Of course, sometimes it happens sometimes divorce happens, and a woman takes her child and tries to build new life with new men. And some kind of man don't want to live with с чужим ребенком, stranger child. And this way woman chooses to to live with this man and ask her parents to bring her child or to live with her child and say goodbye to this man. And this is the same situation as I think.
Life is difficult, actually.
But actually, I can say that in this situation, as we are told, the right way is to find a man with whom raising child and or children and looking after your elder parents, it's alright, because raising children and looking after your parents, they are kind of like essential things. It's I don't know, it is just like how the life goes.
I think I can speak without microphone. I have a loud voice.
Just one moment. Can I ask you a question, please?
Okay.
Just one question. Are you twins? Yes?
2 hours left, by the way.
No, you're twins or sisters?
Yes,
Oh.
yeah, you are all right. You are all
Mhm,
right.
thank
We are
you.
really twins. Everything is okay. You don't have a dementia.
Oh, okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, I have other depressing words, so a little bit more after this film. I think I can talk all depressing things I want. It won't make anybody feel worse. Sorry. I don't think that it's your responsibility to look after your parents or grandparents. The thing is that parents have to look after you, because you weren't asked to be born actually. Yeah? You didn't have a choice there. And parents can be different, and grandparents can be different. And this guy, all the film was talking about his favorite child, which was quite awful after everything she's done for him. And I think that she should have left him in the nursery house much earlier, as what I do. Because, we are used to think in Russia without scripty and traditions that parents are something that is must-have. But not all parents are objectively good. Almost none of them are objectively good, to be honest. So I think that you shouldn't sacrifice your life caring about the elderly, especially if you have your own life and your own children. And I think this problem with the elderly is quite an important one, not only in Russia, but in the whole world. Nobody knows what to do with the elderly, because earlier they just died, and now we are caring for them, and it's a big question what to do with them, and should you sacrifice your life or not. I think that's a personal choice of everyone. Thank you.
It's very difficult
Let's
to
find something positive in this
switch
movie.
it on. Thank you for sharing your emotions and your meaning on the film. Bye-bye. Who wants to say something?
Can I say something? I think it's important in this film. We can be sure on anything what going on in this film. So we can't be sure who exactly his daughter, what she's doing, where she is going, and it's all запутано. Yes, and really, we can't be sure she's a good person, bad person. It's all just what we see in this movie. And I have watched this film second time, and I can say what this movie not so great. I think not that great movie. How it is all. Короче, my English is бета огорчений. Я не думаю, что фильм настолько хорош, как о нем говорят. I think it's more a play than a movie. and there is this distance between audience and screen stage, and it's you can't feel this film and in all sense, I guess.
Well, because the distance is bigger.
Yes, because of this more theatrical how it shoots. I mean, it's director says it shoots from point of view of main character of sick man who is sick of dementia, and I just don't feel it. There is this distance, and I just watch it like it's some comedy, some simple movie, and I think about other movie directed and written by Charlie Kaufman. I'm thinking of Ending Things. It was released on Netflix, and that movie also about a man who losing his sense of time, but in that movie it was you can feel this atmosphere, how it's a disturbing atmosphere, and I just don't feel it in that movie.
Ambience. Атмосфера — это ambience. Собственно, ambient music пошло от этого. Я хотела сказать, что мне очень понравился фильм в плане того, что я никогда не была, скажем так, в голове человека, который страдает деменцией. И вот как сказала девушка на последнем ряду, да, есть, я правильно поняла, Михаил Ханеке и фильм «Любовь». Я его не видела, но я запомнила, я посмотрю, потому что я ничего не видела подобного, хотя я много смотрю, я не видела ничего подобного в плане передачи болезненных состояний на экран.
А вот я думаю, как все закончить. I'm thinking of ending things.
Стоп, я думаю, как все закончить, Кауфман.
Да.
На Netflix.
Да.
Все, да, две мысли у меня сегодня, после сегодня есть, да.
Я думаю, как все закончить.
Фильм Чарли Кауфмана, я думаю, как все закончить. Просто в том фильме действительно ощущалось вот это, ты действительно весь фильм буквально не понимал, что происходит, почему герои внезапно как-то переключаются, меняются, почему меняются лица, почему меняются времена, почему меняется возраст. Здесь это более-менее было все понятно, и вот оно очень театральное действие, и поэтому это нормально. Многие на мое мнение так реагируют.
There is just another work that might be interesting for those who are looking to find something else about this topic. This is Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Healy. It's a book, but there is also a movie shot in 2019, I guess.
Still Alice, нет?
No, Elizabeth is Missing.
Просто все еще Элис есть фильм, Still Alice, может быть это оно?
No, it's a different one. So the author is Emma Healy, and there is a book. I read the book. I haven't found the movie. Actually, it wasn't in Russia. It wasn't on big screen or anywhere. So I don't know about the movie, but the book is pretty good, and it shows very precisely how the disease develops. And first, how the woman starts to lose the vocabulary, and like she says, like things in which you wrap things, meaning the packaging, and just she forgets the words, she forgets lots of things, and it is also, but there is also a detective story there because she remembers something from the past, and we learn a lot about the culture and that period of time from her childhood in Britain. For those who like the UK, that's a treasure trove because you can dig up some facts, even little things like Mario contests where people were in, and lots of things really. And so that one I could actually recommend. As to this one, I would say that of course the actors are great, and I didn't really
enjoy the movie, because sometimes the topic is there's some heavy stuff, but you could still totally enjoy it, and then get engrossed in the film, but not in this case, I could say. But this is still something that is important to discuss, because if we deal with these people and we do it really well, we do become better. And when we pay attention, because in one of the first places, my workplaces, there was a person who was 90 years old, and and I was very young, and I was always busy, like very busy, and he always wanted attention, and even just a couple of words, and I felt terrible every time, because even like 5 minutes, I was very nervous, because seriously, because he had all the time on his hands, and we didn't, like people who worked with him, and he couldn't, and people could he couldn't be fired, because there was, if you have certain qualifications, there is just no way you can go. And when we actually, and then he died, and when we prepared something to remember him by, we learned so many things about him. He was like the Man of the Year in Oxford and New York, and like lots of, and he took part in the the Nuremberg process in Germany, and that was like really, he was like really important, but we didn't care, because he was like a burden for us, and it was, I think it's important to try to make people feel that they matter, that we see them while they're still alive. So it's still something to think about how this can be done. Like one of the projects I know about is when two institutions were put together, like the one for the elderly and one for the young children, and they took care of each other because they both need attention. And that's something that some social work requires more of our attention this way, and maybe it's one of the ideas of this film, that we need to think more about it.
Thank you very much. Well, life is like a circle. It's like a story of Benjamin Button. Well, first you are a baby, then you are an adult, and then you are a baby again.
And then you are 80 years old, and you are an octogenarian.
Yes.
And you have to fight the dementia.
Thank you very much. I really liked your comment. Thank you. Elizabeth Healy.
Emma Healy is the
Emma.
author. Author. Elizabeth is missing. Is the book.
Oh.
I have the paper version. If you like, I could share it, but not with me, obviously.
Do you speak Russian?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Emma Healy. Elizabeth is missing.
Elizabeth is missing.
Thank you. I have to keep straight things in my mind. What to read and what to watch.
Тогда все еще Элис тоже как in mind.
4, okay. Two movies read and 2 books.
Да, это тоже на книге основано про лингвиста, женщину-лингвиста, которая начинает забывать слова и путать их.
У нас такое тоже бывает после определенных моментов. Но не сегодня. Сегодня мы все помним.
Okay, does anybody else want
Yes.
You are looking if you
No.
Angela.
No, I don't want to disturb the cinema. So if anyone wants to say something, you might do that. But if no one wants to speak, we can go out. Okay, what do you think about that? Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
Really.
Спасибо, что пришли.
It's very pleasant for us.